sometimes really, really, really hard things happen, right? Sometimes there's really hard things and you're mourning. You have a need for mourning. And there are different ways that you can handle your need for mourning. I know in the past, before I had these tools of nonviolent communication, my mourning might be that I would curl up in a ball in the middle of my room and cry. I might just go into a period of darkness because I just didn't know how to handle it. That would certainly be wallowing. That was definitely wallowing in my pain. There were times I was like, okay, I gotta just make life happen. And so I would try and suppress it in a way. I even tried Prozac at one point. You know, can I suppress the pain so I can function on top of it? Some people are really good at suppressing the pain, like they don't even feel emotions. They just kind of numb out and they totally function well on top of it. Again, there's no right or wrong here, right? Everything we're doing is seeking to meet a precious need. So suppressing can do that too. Wallowing is seeking to meet the need for mourning. Acting out, this can be basically, you know, getting upset. It could be some blaming or shaming for whatever you believe is the cause of your pain. Now, it's the stimulus, it's not the cause. We had talked about that before. But it's very easy, again, to collapse this idea of stimulus and cause and to assign cause to the stimulus and then to act out on that perceived cause, right? So giving the example of, again, my relationship to my dad, who I love and adore. I've got a really cool dad. And we've had challenges that I've shared in some previous videos because of the divorce and his moving far away. And there was a lot of mourning that happened for me over being separated from him for so long. And that definitely caused wallowing. It caused suppressing or his functioning on top. It caused acting out. I should, rather than saying it caused, I caused all of that. The stimulus was that he was far from me. The cause were my own feelings and my own needs, my pain, my disillusionment, my devastation, my needs for connection, nurturing, and care. Those were the cause. And then those strategies, oftentimes it was wallowing, it was suppressing, it was acting out. When I learned nonviolent communication, it gave me this whole language of feelings and needs. I used to have people ask me, and that's what self-empathy is. So I used to have people ask me early on, when I was learning NVC, well, what are you feeling and what are you needing? And it's like, I don't know. I don't know. I would feel overwhelmed by emotion. I felt like life was too much. I couldn't tell you what I was feeling. I really didn't have the vocabulary for it. And so what I learned was how important it was to simply identify my feelings and needs. And honestly, I was so overwhelmed. The words lists that you can get on my website, www.lovesmartcards.com, or on the cnvc.org website, those words lists, I'd look at them and it was just too many words. And definitely one of my feelings was overwhelmed, stressed, overwhelmed, not happy. And so those words lists would be overwhelming to me too, which is part of the reason I chose to make a set of cards, because I could pull these out and I could look at them one at a time and say, well, do I feel anxious right now? Right? Do I feel exhausted? And if the answer was a yes, I'd put it in one pile. And if the answer was a no, I'd put it in another pile. And then I'd put all the yeses out in front of me so I could actually look at them. And I remember when I first learned this, sometimes I was like, oh, no wonder I didn't know what I was feeling. I had to choose 35 words for me to feel like that's it. You know, I couldn't find one or two or three words to identify my feelings, because there was such a complexity and such a richness and fullness, you could call it, to the pain I was in, that having cards and being able to lay them out, to be able to connect with them one at a time and say, you know, is this one there for me? Is this one there for me? Helped me to work through that and to build a vocabulary at the very same time. So I was giving myself empathy while training myself to be able to give empathy not only to myself but to another person, to have the vocabulary within my mind so that I could have instant access to it. And then I would do the same thing with the needs cards. So I'd pull these out and say, which of my needs are not met in this situation. And so again, make my piles of yeses and nos. And when I had my pile of yes made, then I would spread all of those out so I could see them. And then I could move them around, see what was related, see which needs were related, which emotions were related, maybe how the needs and emotions related to each other. Really do a deep dive in self-empathy. Whew. And that addressed my need for mourning like nothing else could. I no longer wanted to wallow. I no longer wanted to repress or act out. This was what nurtured me. This is what got me through my mourning. This is what got me through to really having deep compassion for myself. And with that, so much of the emotion released. I understood what the needs were, and I could take action on those needs. So this is the distinction around self-empathy versus acting out, wallowing, or suppressing. Again, I totally understand why you might want to do those other things, because before I had these tools, those were my only go-to. But now I'm so grateful I have these tools, because my goodness, it makes such a big difference when you can go into self-empathy. What am I feeling? What am I needing? And once you understand your needs, then you go, what actions could I take? What requests could I make to fulfill on these needs? So empowering. So I highly recommend you pulling out your lists or your cards, whatever's going to work for you, and practice empathy for yourself first, and then for others.